that? Never mind that. What was that?
Hi!
Who are you?
Barf!
Not in here, mister. This is a Mercedes.
Nah, that's my name. Barf!
Barf? What are you?
And here we go. BARFF Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Brian the Commish. In the studio with me tonight, co-host of the show, Walt Mikulski. Walt, how are you tonight?
I'm great, Brian. Thanks for having me, and glad to be here.
All right. Also on the line with us tonight, the owner of Soarin Eagles. Jordan's on the line tonight. How are you, JJ?
Wah, wah, wah. How's it going?
Yes, that music is appropriate for both of us, I can tell you that. It's kind of like this sound. Yeah, I turned it down. But yeah, so let's get into week one action. It's a week of heartache, but it seems like it's consistently a week of heartache for some. As you see over my shoulder, the number has grown, and Knuckleheads are at 6 games since last win. Walt, what game do you want to look at first?
Let's get it over with. I might as well look at mine against the news. Just not a lot to talk about for sure.
Huey Lewis in the news, 7-1, taking out Born to Run 117-85, while Born to Run falls to 5-3, losing their hold on one of those top spots. It was a power shortage for Born to Run, even with the issues that they've had in Kansas City. You expect better from Mahomes. Mike Williams, usually a world beater, puts up 3. Walt, it's got to be hard to watch the team, and I know this. I know that for a fact it's hard to watch the team just fail to perform at so many different levels.
Yeah, exactly, and it really was. And I got like unexpected production from Darrell Williams and Damian Harris, so I'm thinking, I'm going to be really good shape. Mike Williams against the Patriots, Scary Terry. I'm like, this is going to be all right. And of course, then I see, Deebo Samuel, who I decided to bench, go 84 yards. He didn't score. They took it back, but still, I'm like, oh no, this ain't good. It's not a good omen. So, yeah, like you said, it's tough when you don't get the production from all parts of your lineup, and my receivers definitely just not a good week for them at all.
Yeah. McLaurin is there's in terms of expectations, you expect McLaurin to be a double-digit guy every week, and they're having some sort of an issue. I thought that he had a good relationship with Tyler Haneke, and it doesn't seem like that's holding up week to week.
Yeah, no, it's like it's very up and down. Like every time I think, okay, it's turning a corner, and then all of a sudden, I get a performance like this. So, I think I'm getting to the point where I'm going to be putting guys in, and they're pretty much staying there, like Deebo and Deontay and Mike Williams, maybe. So him and Terry might be the ones that I opt out based on matchup.
Yeah, Jordan, any surprises on the other side of the ball when Huey Lewis again goes over 50 points with their Rams connection of Stafford and Kupp?
I mean, it's tough to say there's surprises. It's surprising that other NFL coaches don't know that Cooper Kupp scores like 3 touchdowns a game, but he can't be stopped this year. It seems like a lot of players on that team can't be stopped this year. Yeah,
the unstoppable force of Cooper Kupp. I can't, and yet every week.
It blows me away, and it's incredible, the production that he's getting out of Cooper Kupp. Yeah. I mean, he even won with 0 from Emmanuel Sanders, for goodness sake. So, yeah, Kupp makes up for a couple receivers, which really, like you said, we were thinking running backs, that was his strength, and it is, but let's face it, the Cooper Kupp's like the biggest strength of the team, in my opinion.
He rolls out Myles Gaskin with Michael Carter on the bench. Michael Carter goes 31 points, so there's even more potential from those running backs, and they have, again, sole possession of first place at 7-1. What game do you want to look at next?
Let's see. I think we might be getting someone else calling in, which would be wonderful. Hung like a horse in the beans.
Yeah, let's look at the game Hung Like a Horse and Boston Beans. And joining us on the line tonight is the owner of Boston Beans.
Wow.
Ant is on the line. Ant, how are you tonight?
Good. How are you?
We're doing well.
Good, Tony.
Well. Was
this good timing or what?
This was perfect.
I just guessed it out thin air. I must have felt something.
So
There's greatness in the room, that's all.
We take a look at Hung Like a Horse, improving to 3-5, taking out Boston Beans 136-100 as Boston Beans now drops to 3-5. Ant, what happened with your team this week?
Hold on. Buys and injuries were the problem this week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You got horses like especially Mark Andrews, who's been a savior for the Beans, on the bye along with Josh Jacobs. It's hard. Injuries are killing so many people. But
Yeah, my guy D-Hop only got 2 receptions.
well, Jordan, did you see anything unexpected out of 2 receptions from D-Hop this week?
I mean, I've had D-Hop all year, Tony. 2 receptions is kind of what you're looking at. You're just going to hope for touchdowns.
Nah, man,
And
he was
also-
hurt.
Having a Q next to his name is also what you're going to be looking at.
Well, there's some truth to that one.
Yeah, there's a lot of injury problems going on with star players this year, but boy, it's been that way. It's been, I don't have to tell you, with McCaffrey.
Oh,
it's
exactly.
just so hard, these first round picks that spend half the year on the IR. On the other side of the ball, another first round pick doesn't do well. Dalvin Cook only goes for 7, so that's at least D-Hop did better than that. But he gets 30 from Tom Brady. And it seems like we're saying this every week with Hung Like a Horse. Tom Brady is he's on a mission at his age, and he's putting up fantasy points.
Yeah, now number 1 ranked quarterback.
Yeah.
I scoffed at that pick during the draft. I'm blown away. I really never ever would have saw this coming.
Yeah, I have to ask Ant. Tua is on the bench last week. What happened?
That was strictly matchup driven because the Dolphins seem to get smoked by the Bills every single time. So just playing it safe there.
Yeah, I guess you got to see the Jets coming to town if you're starting Joe Burrow too, and that's salivating over that. And he does well with 22 points, so that was a good overall performance from him. Hung Like a Horse kind of gave A.J. Brown a little tough love when he was on the pod, and since then he seems to have taken off. He heard something.
Yeah, definitely. 33 out of
33
AJ.
points
That
this
was a
week.
really nice. And now with D. Henry out, AJ maybe bigger part of the offense.
Wow.
This is the
Yep.
the shout. I guess foretelling what might be coming.
Yeah. I mean, the ball's got to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Although I believe that it will mostly go to my man. That's over my head right here.
AP.
You guys will see his picture on the pod, and we'll talk about him in a little bit. Where do you want to go now, Walt?
All right, let's see. I always take great joy in this. How about the rifle against Sody Pantlos?
The Springfield Rifle picking up another win to even up their record at 4-4. Take out Sody Pantloads 120-108. Behind another strong performance from. They go good Q and wide receiver with Robert Woods coming back, but Tyreek Hill rises from the dead for them and puts up an amazing 27 points. Ant, surprised this week that the Rifle continues to pick up these W's?
The Rifle's sneaky contender.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. I'm not too surprised. This team's been pretty good these past couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And he's got 27 on the bench from Lockett. Not bad.
Yeah. That's clearly Geno Smith being at Q devalues those players, but he all of a sudden developed this relationship with Tyler Lockett. He's only thrown a DK twice a game, but usually they're touchdowns. But Lockett, he seems to be focused in on.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. Jacksonville, that's a nice matchup. I'm actually surprised he benched him, but I mean, it really would have mattered. He, the Rifle did all the right things, and of course on the payloads, is DeAndre Swift 7 points, maybe. The work furlough is over, and maybe has to go back. I don't know. Is that something to do with it?
Jordan, what do you think? DeAndre Swift, pretender? Are we seeing now his true colors with a 7-point performance?
I don't think DeAndre Swift is a pretender. I'm a little shocked that Detroit was able to get stifled by the Philly D that much. But they were probably in awe at the amount of rushing plays that were going on the other side of the ball and just couldn't think of anything. But no, I think DeAndre Swift is going to keep putting up numbers for the rest of the season. This seems like a fluke game.
Yeah, a lot of good points on the bench too. So a really strong performance from Sody Pantloads. He just does not produce enough points to overtake the Rifle. The Rifle started the players that they needed to. Even with Lockett on the bench, the rest of these decisions are spot on. And again, they are working their way quietly up through the standings.
Yeah, and it's tough too, Kyle. Even though Hurts had a great day, but he had Lamar on a bye. The nice thing with Kyle, though, he still got Darrell Henderson sitting there. Yeah. So if something does happen to Swift, looks like he got a guy you can just plug in.
Yeah, Henderson is having a great year, and it must be nice to have 4. I don't have 4 decent players on my entire roster. Never mind 4 good running backs. That's.
Hey Tony, how was the HQ with Kyle losing, especially when Tyreek Hill went off. Any insight on that?
I don't want to talk too loud because he's in the other room.
I understand.
Now he's coming,
Oh,
and
no.
he's looking at me very angrily.
You must have a live feed somewhere.
I wish you were on camera so you could blink if you were in trouble, Tony.
We're going to have to set that up for next year. We'll do live broadcasts with owners being able to beam in.
I like that
yeah,
idea.
That's pretty good. Got to do it better than Zoom, though. All right, where are we headed next?
Well, I think we got to let our guest have a little, first guest have a little airtime. No lineup needed against the Soaring Eagles.
So we just talked about the Springfield Rifle working their way up through the rankings, but no lineup needed after a rough start. Now peels off their 6th consecutive win, moving to 6-2-0 with a 133-109 win over Soarin Eagles. Soarin Eagles' heartbreaking loss drops them to 2-6-0, but still above the Knuckleheads. Jordan, tell me about your game this week.
I mean, it's a tough game. Christian's team did really well. They've had weeks like this like all year. There's not much to really say about it. Like, I didn't put up a lot of points, but I would have beaten 5 other teams in the league this week.
Yep.
Would have beaten half the league. And, you know, it's just tough. And, you know, I just want to take my time here talking about this matchup just to address some snide comments that I've been getting in the group chat when I'm doing trade negotiations. Some people talking about me waiting on saviors to help my team. I remember a lot of antsy owners, you know, kind of just like side eye looking at the ground saying like, oh, I don't know if I like my team, blah, 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 at the draft. I'm just saying, bring that same energy when we see each other in person. There's a lot of keyboard warriors in this league. That's my piece on that.
Oh, wow.
Oh boy, I don't know whether that will quiet down the group chat
yeah,
or fire up.
I
the
think
group
it's going to
chat.
fire it up. I love it.
Yeah, and those, you know, Michael Pittman Jr. 30 points this week.
I'm ready to say Christian might have the team to beat.
He's-
If you look at that lineup now and the way things have panned out, he's got 3 great running backs. You know, maybe quarterback. If I had to pick one area, maybe not. It's average, but if you get away from that, I mean, way Pittman's performing now. You got Diggs, you got Pittman, you got Pitts. He could be tough.
Yep. I will say on the other side of the ball, Jordan, the trade last week, you picked up Elijah Mitchell and you picked up Cortland Sutton in that trade for D-Hop. And Mitchell does his job. He goes 20. You had good performances out of your running backs with 17 and 20, Devontae Booker and Elijah Mitchell. You know, you would have liked for more out of Sutton, but he's 2 points off of D-Hop this week. Are you still feeling good about this trade?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I needed a running back. I need Mitchell. If he can put up half of that number every week, then I'll be happy with the trade. I think Sutton will have better weeks. And if Sutton starts doing bad, then I have Judy too. So
Right.
I feel pretty happy about it.
Yep, I agree.
And Kittle supposedly might be coming off IR, Jordan? Are you thinking that?
Kittle?
Yeah.
He is coming off IR this week. So, you know, I'm hoping he can slot in. I'm not that upset about Zach Ertz in general, though, so far. So we'll see.
He's got a good situation.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, Kyler Murray's looking a little banged up this week. I'm not sure if he's going to play. That causes some issues for me, but I still think that they're going to start focusing on Zach Ertz more as he learns the playbook. He just got there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so it's a good situation to be in when you got Kittle might be your second guy instead of your first guy. That's pretty awesome.
Absolutely.
All right, you ready?
I
Can
mean,
you do it?
yeah. Worst team ever, bruised to 4-4. Good for them with a 98-92 victory over the Knuckleheads. Knuckleheads had a chance to win on Monday night, but they did not. They fall to 1-7-0. The sign goes to 6, and you look up and down the lineup, and you just see bad performances, up and down.
So I'm watching Sunday night. C.D. Lamb's having a great game. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's got Travis Kelce. How will he not win? And then I see Travis Kelce all of a sudden become a blocking tight end on Monday night, and barely. I don't know. I don't know what his targets were, but it was definitely
Sad.
Yeah, it was very sad,
Yeah.
and I was in disbelief. I was like, well, sometimes no matter what you do.
I believed it was going to happen. Actually, what I told Tyler was that we were going to be tied, as were the two teams on Monday night. And Graham Gano was going to step for the game-winning field goal, shank it, and the negative points were gonna cause me to lose. But this is around the same.
Actually, that's unreal. I forgot you had Graham Gano going on.
Yeah, I had two players going Monday
two
night, and I needed I think I needed 14 points to tie 15 to win something like
wow.
that. One of them was Travis Kelce. I get nothing. It's that performance after Travis Kelce couldn't outpoint Foster Moreau last week. His confidence is shattered for fantasy football. Jordan, any hope for the Knuckleheads?
Ooh, hard to say. There's a lot of hope, especially with Kyler's supposed to be out next week, right?
I think, he's a 425 game, so I've got some problems at quarterback. I'm probably going to have to pick somebody up. Yeah.
You get a little hope on your bench. Tyler Boyd putting up 19, getting a lot of targets. Don't know if that'll keep up, but damn, Gainwell is that's just a shot through the heart right there.
Yeah, Gainwell he's now unemployed.
Yeah.
He's been kicked to the damn curb because I'm tired of Kenneth Gainwell and the Philadelphia Eagles as an organization. Tyler Boyd puts up performances every week that I think about putting him in the lineup and don't. Cole Beasley does the same. I can't be disappointed in my wide receivers this week, and even Zach Moss has been double-digit guy. But when you get 4 points out of Travis Kelce, I didn't draft Travis Kelce in the first round and get 4 points.
And Kyler Murray get
11 points, and that's another. He's trending down, and now he's hurt.
Yeah, no, that was a shock to me because it was a competitive game. You would think he'd have been over 300, a couple touchdowns, and it just was not going to happen. And again, I've seen with you on the games you have some of the weirdest plays. You get D-Hop called on a long touchdown pass, somehow face masking on him to nullify the touchdown, which I'm like, how is that possible?
Yeah, a lot of points that I could have that go up in smoke. But there's hope, and there is hope in the form of Adrian Peterson.
AP.
I can let this out of the bag because none of you can beat me to a waiver claim. I'm buried so deep in these damn standings. I'll get anybody. And I'm going to get AP because I'll remind everyone I'm a 2-time BARFF champion. And AP led me to those titles. That was 12 years ago. But I'm confident that he can do it again. He can overcome a 7-game deficit and get me in the playoffs.
I will say this. He's intriguing just from the fact of the volume of potential carries he might get.
He might get 20 carries.
Yeah.
Might go 31 yards. 20 carries. But Ant, worst team ever sits above you at 4-4. Are they trending with this victory back up, or do you think that you'll be surpassing them soon?
I don't know if I'll be surpassing them. I am hoping to squeak in at the 6th spot. Let me see the standings. Yeah, I'll be fine with 6. I don't know if I'm going to beat Ty.
He's got a lot of injuries, though. Have you looked? Losing. He's pretty much Henry, then Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
I think he might be in a worse position than you, Tony.
Yeah, he's...
Yeah, well, what's Dak's status here?
He's good. Nah, he'll play this week for
good.
sure.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Ty's still got an okay team.
Yep.
He's got good wide receivers, but that's about it.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting path as you look at the middle of the pack. And you know what? Let's go a little bit out of order and take a quick look at the standings.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan, can you stay with us for a look at the standings?
Yep, I'm in for the long haul here.
Okay, gotcha.
Great.
All right, so right now, sitting, we mentioned sitting at the top lineups, Huey Lewis in the news, and there's no question they're blowing up their points for. Even you can't question the points against. They're just having a solid year, and sitting at 7-1. So that's clearly a scary team. Christian at 6-2. I've been calling him a sneaky team. And when you look at the points for and points against, he's had a couple breaks go his way, but boy, I tell you, he tends to manage his way into those breaks.
Oh yeah, and he's creeping up on both of the points for.
Mm-hmm.
If he can avoid injury, and that's his Achilles heel, is that there's the depth is not necessarily there, but if he stays healthy, he might. This could be the year.
Yep. Now, two teams that are coming off losses, and Kyle's coming off 2 losses in a row. Sody Pantloads and Born to Run pulling in at 5-3. Very similar outside of the current loss streaks. Walt, what are you thinking about Sody Pantloads right now? The 2 losses straight dropped them to 5-3.
Solid team. I think he'll be there at the end. But I'll say this: I'm 5-3 with my number one draft pick been on IR for the last
Yeah.
X amount of weeks.
Yeah.
I have my tight end's been hurt. My team is the one that is trending the complete other way of getting healthy.
Yep.
So I like where I'm at. I think I'll surpass the Pantloads, but it's Kyle. He's like that annoying gnat. You swat at him, you want him to go away, but he just keeps coming back to torment you. So.
Yeah, Kyle offered me a very good trade offer this week, which shows me that he's not sitting back at 5-3. He's looking to make a run at the top. So.
Yeah, I think he realizes he's got a couple areas he wants to shore up. So I would not be surprised if he remains active and trying to get him over that hump.
Yeah, it's good. And then we look at the next tier, worst team ever, who's kind of been sliding lately. They picked up their up and down the last 2 weeks at 4-4, with now the Springfield Rifle coming in at 4-4, winning another game 2 in a row. And which of these two teams do you see, or do you see either of these two teams separating from the middle and making a run up to the top?
Ty's got his work cut out for him. Those injuries, the mental health issues on his team, which might be reflective of the owner himself. Ty, he's got his work cut out. I think it's going to be tough. I suspect he's going to try to make some trade, whereas I think the Rifle, the arrow's pointing up. I think they keep going that way. And then I think you got Tony. He might be the one that knocks Ty out potentially, or maybe the Rifle. I really think it's going to be quite competitive for those last 2 spots.
Yep. Ant, you're coming in at the 7 spot now. You're 1 game back of a playoff spot. The 2 teams above you 4-0. We already talked a little bit about, do you see yourself overcoming those? Do you see yourself, and you mentioned it a little bit, you just want to hang on to that, get into that 6th spot and hold, or do you see yourself going on a run?
I don't see myself going on a run. I got a very difficult schedule to finish off this year. I got Huey, Springfield Rifle, who's a good team. I got Walt, and then I got no lineup needed. And I finished the year with Knucklehead. So, I mean, there's 1 win out of those 5.
Get 1, yeah. That's a brutal stretch right there.
Tony,
wow.
That's rough.
Wow. Yeah, I did not.
And I got Sody Pantloads this week. I mean, this is just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that's not the toughest stretch to end the
year. That is brutal schedule.
Fantasy gods threw in the Knuckleheads at the end just to try to throw a life preserver out there.
But, I mean, odds are you're going to win at some point, right? Is it going to be?
That would be terrible.
Well, it gets to that point where all of us, even Tyler was saying, he's going to win. I just don't want it to be me now. So it plays on all our minds now.
Yeah, we're gonna maybe win another game. I don't know. AP, he's got me. He's good.
Breaking from Adam Schefter, Sody Pantloads offers Darrell Henderson for Debo Samuel from Born to Run.
Oh,
wow!
Darrell Henderson for Debo Samuel is on the table.
And future considerations.
I don't know how we quantify future considerations.
I'm not even sure what that means. I am intrigued by that offer. My people will contact your people after the podcast.
Be in touch.
We will.
I will say he offered me a very good trade, and he's not trying to fleece anybody. He's trying to make straight trades to show up his team.
I love that.
It's good.
Hey, Tony, what about the... I don't want to call him a fraud because I have not labeled him as that. Are you Are you worried about Tommy's team sneaking in on you?
No.
Not at all.
Tom's too skinny.
Well, that's the next team that we're going to look at in the standings. The 3-5 team, the Beans and the Hung Like a Horse are both 3-5, both trying to move up into that playoff ready tier. Numbers are pretty similar.
Very similar.
Yeah, so I don't know. Beans seems to be discounting Hung Like a Horse. Jordan, what do you think about Tom's chances of going up for a playoff run?
Tom's team is weird. I don't really know what to make of it. I'm looking at it right now.
He does. He looked early in the year. I was looking at Hung Like a Horse and no lineup as these two teams that I thought were really solid, and it's worked out for Christian. But Tom's had some rough times.
But you look.
I'll tell you what's weird about Tom's team. He's not looking for running backs nearly as desperate as I am. Yet he's sitting there with Khalil Herbert, Antonio Gibson, and Kenyon Drake.
He's still putting
as
Kenyon Drake
RB2s.
Yes. Yes.
That's a really good point.
It is, yeah.
Maybe sticking with the guys too much and not wanting to do something. Yeah, that's a good point.
He's got one guy with a broken shin. He's got another guy that cries like he's got a broken shin. It's hard.
Yeah, that actually, now you say it, that bench is just really iffy at best.
Yeah.
And maybe you're right. I don't know. It might be tough.
This is a year for depth, for sure.
It is, exactly.
Jordan, you're holding down the 9th spot, 2-6. Now, I made a lot of claims last week. It was false bravado. I think it was pretty transparent. I hoped there was some truth to it, but my team's going nowhere. What do you think about Soarin Eagles and your potential to move up to that 6th spot before the end of the season?
My points for are bad. I had a couple really tough weeks in there, probably when I was relying on Miles Sanders a little too much. But with Mitchell going forward and maybe another running back coming into the team at some point, I don't know. Every week I look at my team and I think I got a chance to go off, and sometimes it just doesn't happen. So I still think I got a chance. It just depends on how these next couple weeks go.
All right, fair enough. Honest assessment. And let's look all the way down to the bottom of the barrel, and then there's the knuckleheads. Knuckleheads have huge points against, and it doesn't matter because I can't score any points. So that points against could be 200 points less, and I would still be 1-7.
I mean, that's like the worst formula to have.
Absolutely.
The least amount of points for and the most points against.
Yeah, it's really hard to overcome.
No, you can't build it any worse than that.
Yeah, as impressive as Tristan's 6-win streak is, this 6-loss streak is impressive. You have to suck to get 6 straight losses.
That is a lot of things not going your way to accumulate that many in a row.
Luckily for me, here in Knuckleheads Land, the Savior is coming, and he'll be arriving on Thursday morning. And so I am very confident that AP is going to be a 25-point-a-week player for the remainder of the season. And then we'll see where we stand. Although if I run the table right now, it's still almost impossible.
It could happen, but you're right. Even you run the table,
7 losses.
It's going to be rough. So do you move to the part of relishing the spoiler role?
I do relish the spoiler role. Yep. I'm going to try to win. I root for everybody. I am disappointed if I'm in a position to knock somebody out of a playoff spot, and I do, with nothing to really play for. But that's fantasy football. That's what makes BARFF BARFF. Everyone goes hard. These are all good teams to some extent. Even mine has some redeeming value somewhere, and so that's what you do. And so I'm gonna be out there. I'm still hitting the waiver wire. AP is not a gimmick pickup. When I look at what's out there, and he's not the only move I'm looking at this week.
Yeah, exactly.
I think there's value there.
And you got to put it in perspective. You look. I'll compare you to my team. I mean, you're a mere, let's see, 59-7. It is not bad. 66 points difference over this amount of games. It's nothing. Yeah. It's really. It's always like that though. It's a fine line between, having my record or being down where you got luck and you just have a very tough losing streak.
Yeah, it only seems to be growing. It's a very healthy streak. So, and I brought up trades. I keep bringing up that Kyle offered me a good trade, and I'll bring it up out into the open. He offered me Henderson and another player. I don't want to get into who the other players because he offered you a trade, but and for DK Metcalf, the 6th ranked receiver in football. But it's a trade that makes sense for me. I can't believe that DK Metcalf is the 6th ranked wide receiver in football. He just doesn't get the love that I think the guy deserves. He doesn't get targets like a guy with his potential should. And I have a glaring need at running back, and Henderson's pulling in at 10 or 11 ranked as a running back. He gets catches, he gets yards.
Oh yeah,
But I also have this fear. I fear that because I'm so bad, like there is no hope for this team, that if Kyle were to get DK from me and then go on a run, people would say, oh yeah, well, Kamish just gave you DK and that's why you're winning. And I don't want that for him. It's a bad position to be in. So I'm going to keep my wagons closed we're gonna ride this AP train, and I'm gonna try to spoil as many playoff hopes as I can.
Yeah, well, I hate to say it, that quote I guarantee would be said in my household by a certain member of my family to the other member. So I can't say I disagree with you on that.
Yeah, it's just difficult. Gents, let's take a look at next week. We talked about this past week being the team where we saw a lot of battling going on at the bottom and that separation, and now we're definitely seeing teams that are close to one another doing a little bit of battling. And so we'll start. I'm going to start us with the battle of the bottom. Jordan, what you don't want to do this week is come out of this game 2-7. You got the knuckleheads. You got to win this one. How do you feel about your game looking at this matchup?
It's nice to have Devontae Adams back, even if Aaron Rodgers refuses to protect himself against the COVID.
Well, he's immunized. He's immunized.
He's immunized.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Sure is helping us all out right now.
Yeah.
I should get Kittle back. So I'm going to come into this week with a strong lineup. Elijah Mitchell coming up against Arizona. Josh Allen's playing Jacksonville. Hopefully he doesn't get benched for Mitch if they start winning by too much. So I don't know. It's another week where I have a chance to put up a lot of points. I haven't really had a chance to look at your team. Oh, you got Hunter Renfrow.
Mm-hmm.
He might be benefiting from a recent accident.
I think he will. I think his targets just
unintended.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So
I'm down to benefit from someone's misfortune at this point. I'm 1-7. I actually could probably celebrate the man's arrest, and I could not be held responsible for this. I'm 1-7 on a 6-game losing streak, and one of my players might benefit from it. I'm a damn happy owner.
Yeah. Hey, Jordan, is Mike Davis a mistake, or are you actually starting him?
you see the rest of my team?
I do, but I'm just checking. Because he's tough on you, though. It's hard to know if he's could even get any kind of playing or attempts.
I mean, he's only had 1 week where he went. Besides the first week, he's only had 1 week where he's dipped below double digits.
Yeah.
He's
Right.
been the mark of consistency, other than that 1 week where I needed him to not get 1 point.
He's a 10-point guy. Definitely a 10-point guy.
Yeah.
I'll take 10 from Mike Davis this week.
Oh, I think that's what you need, though. You need that consistency to make sure. Because I look at this, and I guess I'm curious. I feel you have to win this game. There's no choice. You agree?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, or else yeah.
Right. You're almost in the same boat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like,
Exactly.
you have hope now because there are 4-4 teams.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, you're 2 games out with plenty of room to grow. But there's like 1 game is a huge difference right now, and you're on the better end of that. Let's look at Boston Beans taking on Sody Pantloads. Ant brought it up already. Sody Pantloads is not who you want to see when you're scrapping for wins. But if it goes Ant's way, he ends up 4-5. Sody 5-4. Again, we're talking about really seeing the center of that pack come together. And right now the projections are a little off in favor of Sody Pantloads, but it's Wednesday and lineups aren't set. Ant, you didn't sound very confident earlier about this matchup and about your chances moving forward through the season, but you do have some decent matchups, and it looks like Tua is back in the lineup this week as long as he gets on the field. Is Tua going to be a guy that can lead you this week? You think he's going to get that 21-plus points?
Oh, Tua is the guy to lead any team. I mean, just look at the kid. He loves to learn. He's happy to be on the Fins for good now, at least for this year. But as far as the rest of my team goes, I'm disappointed. I'm scared looking over at Sody Pantloads. I feel like this is the best lineup I've ever had, and they stink. I'm 3-5.
There's got to be some. I mean, so we talk about the running back situation, and Sody and Huey Lewis have those great running backs. No lineup to an extent is also showing some strength at running back. But Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb, and then let's go to the beginning of the season. Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb, and Josh Jacobs. No one would have argued with that 3 as a potentially devastating trio. Josh Jacobs just isn't getting the work.
Yeah, and Nick Chubb, with Kareem Hunt, is sharing a lot of time too. And I don't think anyone really, I know I didn't think it would be that much of a cut into his, playing time. So, yeah, all those surprising. Because I agree. when you're coming out of that draft, I'm like, you know, those look great. Like maybe that was the best tandem.
Yeah.
Or try, you know, 3 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And
Jones is going to get a lot of work this week.
yeah, I think so. Yeah. So that's a really good thing. You're going to get a lot out of Jones, I think, especially.
And Chubb, right? I think Hunt's still out.
Yeah, I would think so. But
And Josh Jacobs is a solid 14-point guy every week whenever he plays.
Yep. All right. There's a chance. I look at Kyle's matchups, though, man. Those are rough. Yeah. Kamara against Atlanta, Harris against Chicago. Those are really, really awesome.
All you can hope for on the other side of the ball is that those guys are up so far that they just don't get work because they want to save them.
Yeah. And then when I trade him Debo, Tony, he's going to have a really good matchup at wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, you know, what does he do with Debo, right? I mean, he's going to plug him in at that flex spot. He's going to be wide receiver heavy rather than running back heavy.
Yeah, I think that's
change of strategy.
Yeah, it is. But I think for him, that probably makes sense to maybe going and get a wide receiver.
Let's talk about this Civil War game. Born to Run taking on worst team ever. 5-3 for Born to Run. 4-4 worst team ever, looking to get back. They started the season higher up in the standings. They're looking to break from the middle of the pack. Walt, again, the projections have it going to you right now. What do you think about this matchup?
I got no problem kicking a man when he's down, and I'm really actually pretty like you. I'm okay with the misfortune that poor Tyler has suffered because that means a win for me. I'm a happy guy. So yeah, I mean he's got Marvin Jones Jr. in there going, and I still got Jamar Chase but Javonte Williams against Dallas, you know, and I might get McCaffrey back. Waller looks like he's gonna play. I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah, you never know where Beckham's going to be playing at the end of the week also.
Yeah.
It sure as hell isn't going to be Cleveland.
No way. Exactly.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. He can come back to New York, but no, we don't want him. Jordan, is the injury to Derrick Henry, losing him for what's most likely the season, is that the death knell for not only the Tennessee Titans, but worst team ever?
Oh, that's certainly the death note for worst team ever. I mean, he was complaining that I wasn't giving him offers to try to get a running back from his team, but where would he be if he gave up a running back 2 weeks ago? There's just not a lot looking good without Henry on that team.
Yeah, Derrick Henry makes up for a lot of
that. I mean, he's just like such a difference maker at his position. There's no other running back like him, so that's a really just. It's going to be so hard to overcome that.
Yeah. And
I saw Tyler looking up on the internet what Jones fractures were and what the timetable were for those injuries.
Sad.
It's not. Yeah, it's not a good thing.
Did he cry?
I saw a tear maybe, but yeah, I felt bad.
Damn it. Tom should trade him Kenyon Drake. Tyler, don't bother trying to get AP.
Yeah,
it's
no.
It's not going to happen.
Exactly.
He's coming home. Let's look at this is another Civil War game, and I'm going to be looking at this game probably the most of any of them this week. Huey Lewis in the news at 7-1. Springfield Rifle climbing the standings, pulling in at 4-4. Huge projection issues, but again, there's empty spots, so you can't really go by that. But Walt, is this a trap game for Huey Lewis in the news? Is this a game that they're going to look back on and be like, "Oh, what happened?"
This is really I mean, losing Rodgers, of course. I would have said
it's hard for the Rifle.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard. I thought it would have been a trap game, but I'm a little concerned now because of that he's going to have, you know, the guy he's been putting in at quarterback, and he's going to be forced to find what's out there. I haven't looked. Have you looked what is really left?
Oh, yeah. I mean, realistically, especially it depends on what times he's looking at. But if you're not going to look at Jordan Love as Aaron Rodgers owner, you've got Daniel Jones out there. You could figure out what's happening with the Saints queue. Is Simeon going to play or is Taysom Hill? I think Taysom Hill has some potential as a fantasy player, but is he going to make it on the field? There's really not a lot. Tyrod Taylor's probably going to be coming back. Tyrod Taylor gets no respect in fantasy, but he tends to put up the points.
Yeah, he does. Yep.
So there are some options out there. It's just a matter of which choice he's going to make, and he's got to have a little luck.
Yeah, so that's, I think, what it's going to come down to is just whoever he decides. He goes with Danny Dimes or, you know, he goes Tyrod, whatever. He's got to just hope that it just doesn't turn into a single digit performance.
Yeah, because on the other side of the ball, Stafford and Cup, they're not both going to have off weeks.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
And then what points is Jonathan Taylor going to get against the Jets?
Yep. That's
That's
crazy.
yeah.
No matter what he does at Q, Stafford against Tennessee or Herbert against Philly, sure looks great either way.
Exactly.
Must be a nice problem to have. I don't know anything about that. But yeah, I'm going to keep a close eye on that one. And so that brings us to Hung Like a Horse, another really intriguing game. This is a really opportunity for Tommy to step up. Right now, it's a really close projection. Hung Like a Horse at 3-5 takes on No Lineup Needed at 6-2. Another statement game. If the Rifle can win the pick up the upset and Christian can stay in the lead, you could see Christian tied for first place, and that's after an 0-2 start.
I know.
That would be
amazing.
7 straight.
It's amazing.
7 straight. Ant, does Christian go 7 straight this week against Hung Like a Horse?
Yes, he does.
I should have guessed that answer. Jordan, what do you think? What's your prediction for this game?
I think No Lineup Needed takes it. I mean, it looks like Hung Like a Horse has an empty slot right now with nobody on the bench to fill in for it, unless he wants to throw Robbie Anderson on there.
Mm-hmm.
Christian's team's been trending up. Pittman's been somehow putting up 1 million points. And if he has these 3 running backs who never – it looks like Fournette's on a bye. That's interesting. But he's got these 3 running backs that never seem to go off at the same time, but they have the potential for it. And he seems like he's due for a monster week.
Yeah, I agree. And also, let's look at let's Eckler, Fournette, and Mixon. Fournette is of all of those is the one that he
didn't see that coming, right?
What a season he's having. They're relying on him like a bell cow back. And this is a guy that really, he didn't come on until the playoffs last year. He was really kind of a forgotten person down in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Ronald Jones Jr., I don't know what happened to him, but he's non-existent.
Yep. Although they were protecting him around the trade deadline pretty hard. So
yeah, they were.
They're still interested in him. So an interesting week in games. This is, we're going to have a little bit of, we're either going to have a lot of mud in the middle or you're going to see some teams separate. So it'll be interesting to see.
All we need is upset or two, and that'll really make it, like you said, a lot muddier than it is now.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is our show for the week. I'd like to thank our guests tonight. Jordan, thanks for calling in. Ant, thanks for calling in, guys.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you, hosts.
Good luck.
What a treat, guys.
Good luck to you.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting. I'm not only going to be keeping my eyes glued to these games and the waiver wire this week, but the chat. I'm going to keep a close eye on the chat.
Well,
Seems like
we had Jordan maybe calling out some of those keyboard warriors, as he says. So I'm looking forward to what comes.
I'd love to hear what they have to say. One last thing for knuckleheads.
Yeah.
A lot of AP talk tonight. Is there no fear of a Jeremy McNichols takeover?
No, I don't believe in Jeremy McNichols because he does not have the ability to smash his face into the line 30 times. His AP doesn't care. He's going to do that. He may only get a yard of carry, but he'll still go out there and run between the tackles. And B, Jeremy McNichols did not win a single BARFF championship with the Knuckleheads, and AP has 2.
And I'll say this. If you're going out to sign a 36-year-old running back, that tells me Jeremy McNichols might not be the answer.
No, exactly right. Yeah, if Jeremy McNichols was the answer, I don't think that Tennessee would have been pulling AP off the heat.
Right.
So,
yep.
But we'll see. As I say that, AP will get 2 carries for -1 yard this week, but the picture will stay. Damn it. All right, guys, that is our show for the night. I'd like to thank Walt for coming in. What a great show.
Yeah, it was great. I'm looking forward to going over the results next week.
Oh, yeah, this will be a good one. Good luck to all.
All right, guys, take care.